Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon at Gateway Young Adult Housing Navigation Center. Round of applause. Thank you. We have a great lineup for you tonight, this afternoon. We'll hear remarks from the incredible leaders that have helped make this space possible, as well as a very special resident who is going to share their story with us. We're very grateful for that. So we're going to keep it moving, keep it meaningful. Thank you all again for being here. We will get started with the wonderful Mayor Keller.
Well, being here after a long history of this facility and our gateway system in our city is especially special. To see all of you in the work that you do each day in our community and with our youth is something I'm grateful for every day. And to see us all doing it together is even better. And you know, they say it takes a village. And I'm like, here's your village, right here, all these groups. But really, this is such a good example of that one Albuquerque spirit that it takes during tough times and for people who are dealing with tough times. And it proves also that we can lift people up, right? We never should give up on anyone in our city, especially not our youth. And so this is what the Youth Gateway is all about. Most folks here know the concept, but for folks who are newer here, just want to refresh the whole idea here. One is we try and have a system that is a continuum of care. A lot of that system is nonprofits and partners, but now a huge piece of that is the Gateway system. And whether it's the Gateway families or recovery gateway, folks recovering from addiction, or it's our more traditional facilities at the Gateway Center for sobering, or for medical respite, or even out at the west side for emergency shelter. And then here, right, a big gap that was identified that we've known for a long time was for young adults. And so this is what Gateway Young Adult is all about. Folks ages between 18 and 25, and they're aging out of a system. So in that continuum, right, this was one of the biggest gaps. So they're aging out of foster care. Domestic violence becomes a big issue in this age group. And they're also navigating their own behavioral health issues around addiction. And so this unique demographic obviously has disproportionate impacts in the long term, which again, everyone here knows. But you know, there's all sorts of different sayings about like if you can save a young adult, you're actually saving like 10 other young adults. And it just has to do with, unfortunately, folks that we aren't able to help. The path that it goes down is something that we deal with later in the incarceration system or in the emergency room. And so that's why this facility is so important. Now, catch up to where we are at. This used to be the La Quinta. Someone reminded me of the ridiculous commercials they used to have where they said La Quinta was Spanish for the internet. That's like when Wi-Fi first came out. They're like the first hotel to have that. And I remember seeing that on the sign out there. But now, obviously, what we're able to do is we're trying to also resuscitate these old dilapidated hotels that are also becoming blights in our neighborhood. And so what an amazing combination, right? We're dealing with that issue, but then also helping provide services in an area that we've had huge gaps before. And so that's the concept behind the Youth Gateway. Now, today, though, we want to talk about what's happening here now and what's working. Because we did all that, and now it's actually about the individuals that literally are here every day. And so the amazing thing is 47 young people have been served since this opened already. That's 47 who had somewhere to go, right? And someone in their corner and a real shot at stability. For some of them for the first time in their lives, certainly for the first time in their adult life in terms of independent stability. Now, already 10 have secured stable housing, 7 have found jobs, and their lives are on a vastly different trajectory than it was when they came in the door. And so we also want to make sure that we continue to fill the space that we have. And so we take referrals from hospitals, from APS, from the court system, from first responders, from nonprofits, young people trying to find their own way here, also sometimes find their way on their own. And part of that is because there is trust here. There's trust of safety, confidentiality, and there's also trust of support, that there's a chance, a real chance here. And that's a credit to everyone who's here today. Now, of course, we need to expand this. We need much more. And so we're very quickly moving down the process of expanding this into 30 more beds. And we want to make sure that before homelessness becomes a pattern in someone's young life, we're there to change everything that comes after the streets. And so with that, there's many more folks who are going to share the roles, the important roles that they play here. And of course, we're grateful to one of our clients who's actually going to share their own story. So next up, I want to introduce the director of Triple H. Now that's our Health, Housing, and Homeless Department. I'm not sure what order those go in. I don't even know if we ever picked it. But just as a reminder, he's been here from the start. When we started, we had literally zero people, who were dedicated to homelessness or housing. Zero at the city of Albuquerque. And so when he first came on, I said, hey, we're going to build a whole department to help the 3 H's. So this is the guy who's been working on it, Gilbert Ramirez.
Thank you, Mayor, for that warm welcome and kind of summary. And more importantly, welcome everybody on our behalf here at the city and our partners. Thank you for being here. We've done quite a few events here at this facility site as this project has developed, but not once did it, deter us from the focus, the mission of why this was so important and why we do this. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Gilbert Ramirez. I do serve as the Director for Health, Housing, Homelessness, oftentimes a department that many ask me, why would you want to lead that department? And in my background and passion, I've been doing behavioral health for a long time, working with youth primarily before I came here in the high schools. This particular project is very special to not only me, the work we've been doing, but those of you who are out there doing this every day. You see the gap in services in our community in regards to serving individuals who are aging out of systems. And those folks were often on my caseload as I was a school social worker, Highland High School for years, and then through a charter school. Our young people sometimes, as we are taught that at 18, boom, you're an adult. And at that age, okay, well, you're on your own in every way imaginable. But when you haven't had the foundation, maybe the supports built around you to make sure that when you make that jump into 18, you have every resource available to be successful. Unfortunately, they get turned to other systems, right? And sometimes that's the creation of our own systems. We put you in one system, we discharge you because you no longer meet the age criteria like schools do. Like, that's it, sorry, can't serve you, you're 22, you gotta go. That happens sometimes, foster care and other facilities. All of a sudden, you're an adult and you need to leave. But what have we done to really make sure that that bridge to success is a successful one? And how are we supporting them? And that was something that we identified as a huge need. So, gosh, just post-COVID, through the Homeless Coordinating Council, many of us got together in a subcommittee to say, we asked a big question, what's missing? Especially for our youth. And we had CYFD there, we had YDI, we had our nonprofits, and all of us really understanding that we don't really have a good grasp on how youth homelessness impacts our city. And so we did a study and we jumped out there to really analyze this issue and this problem. What we identified was a huge need. And what we were able to see through this partnership was really a coalition of folks dedicated to a common good, which was, what can we do to make the system better for a population in our community that deserves that? And that's this 18 to 25-year-old population. What we were seeing in our other systems is folks were just transitioning from that to those systems, whether it was our homeless shelters for adults, whether it was incarceration or the court systems, and they were moving into a direction that really was detrimental to them and our community if we're looking at the investment of what we do for our local residents. So with that being said, the idea and the concept came forward to say we need a young adult housing treatment navigation facility, something that will help them for those who are exiting, who unfortunately may have had family structures that have turned away from them. And now where do you go? I'm 18 and I need just another little lift up. In a big way, anytime, and this is my true belief, that we invest in young people, it's a prevention strategy. That's about as much upstream as you can get when you're looking at investing in young people, and that's what this was about. How do we rally folks to say, here is why we want this? Now, I will say, I went to Del Norte. This was in the Del Norte district. My best friend's mother worked at the La Quinta as a housekeeper. Never imagined this would be under our helm and we'd be turning it into this, right? Just growing up in the neighborhood. But to see us take something that location-wise had transportation, alternative school-wise, had partners in the local area. What we were trying to create and where we were going to put this was very intentional. And it also took a collaboration. How are we going to fund it? How are we going to put it together? And so I will say, we had a bunch of partners come forward at the federal level, the state level. Many of our partners here, I want to, just acknowledge them. This was not just a city initiative. It might have been our concept in pulling folks together, but you saw an outpour of folks dedicated to the overall program and how we develop this. And so we're appreciative of that. That couldn't have come together. And like the mayor said, we're not done, right? The next phase, and now that it's open, it's like if you build it, they will come. They are here and we are serving them. And I'll speak a little bit about those numbers and where we're headed. But it's vital that we understand that the work's not done. This is just one level of accomplishment of the next phase. I will highlight, it takes bold leadership, and I appreciate that from the boss and those who give us the permissions to do this work, to really think outside the box and create something that some folks might say that's too much money. And I always go back and say, and I think investing in our human capital, our residents and our community is never a dollar lost when ultimately we're going to have the results that we hope to have. So I appreciate that support. This has been federal, state, local, council, everywhere possible funded for us to be able to do this. All right. So overall, I want to say since we've opened, we've served 47 unique clients through this facility already. And with that, we've had 54 different community partners make referrals to this facility, which just shows the need and the wonderful rally of folks trying to connect the youth to the right program. I continue to have meetings where they're like, we didn't know that was open. I had a meeting last week, UNM Hospital, at the new psych services, and they were looking for discharge planning in other areas. And I said, for this population, this could be a resource for the next step. It's so important that we make sure we do that. But I will say, our referrals have come from schools, first responders, the courts, behavioral health providers, our nonprofits, direct referrals from young people connecting. And so our appreciation for that, because we wouldn't have the success if we didn't have the partners making the appropriate referrals. So I do want to talk about how this is a prevention strategy. This is about intervening before huge instability actually hits a young person, right? And when that cycle hits, it's very hard to pull out of. And then there's all the other dangers that come with that. Temptation for addiction and drug use, right? Trafficking situations that our young people get put into. We know that culture exists, especially for those who are most vulnerable. And this is a way to be able to say, we have that bridge, much like when you go to college and you need that bridge scholarship. Well, where's your bridge transitioning from a institutional care environment to community and normal life, right? And that is this. Our partner, YDI, who oversees the operations of this and who will be speaking, this is the work they do. And we couldn't have found a better partner and collaborator to work with to be able to do this operation and make sure we're wrapping ourselves around an agency who has expertise in serving this population and also aligned with the mission and vision of what we had planned for here. So looking forward, again, I mentioned this is not the finish line to our work. Honestly, it's the foundation. And now that we've built that foundation, we got phase 2 and 3 to come, which will be an outdoor park and recreational area, additional rooms to build onto this. And so I just want to reiterate that now that the foundation is here and we have a good stability and we're already showing the fruits of the success of what this is meaning for our community, the next step is to make sure we complete that goal line. You'll see us talking to a lot of folks, putting in ask for the funding at the state level and all. I think there's the support there because this is the first of its kind in this state, which just shows that others can replicate and do it in their community areas as the need is there. Because ultimately, we know a lot of folks come to Albuquerque for services, but you should be served in your own community, in your own area, and not have to leave that. And we know that in the behavioral health arena, sadly, we have to ship our young people sometimes out of state because we don't have the services. We're trying to end that now to make sure, no, we do have that here because we are investing in that. Overall, I'll say that our communities are ultimately judged by the way leaders invest back into their community. This is one example in which I hope we are showing the nation that we care about our young adults, we care about those who are transitioning out, and that we are choosing to invest in that area. This was an opportunity for us to say, let's not stay siloed. Let's not stay fragmented as a system. Let's not let jurisdictions or boundaries for electeds not let us place something in their neighborhood. All came together. That's the common ground we seek moving forward, and that actually keeps us as an innovative and progressive city. And ultimately, I think you're going to hear from the fruits of that investment from a young person who's actually utilizing this, which is the most powerful story to listen to. So again, thank you and welcome. And I am so excited that we are at this point to be able to say the first phase is done. And we are very excited, looking forward to the next phase. Thank you all. Oh, sorry. Next up, I'm supposed to do the introduction, is our director for ACS, Jody Escobar. So I want to make sure to give her a round of applause.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Thankful to be here in this space, and I'll speak briefly, but there's a lot of things that were mentioned today: bold leaders, breaking down barriers, first of the state, and that's really literally ACS. We are the first in the state in behavioral health crisis response. So we're dispatched via 911 for behavioral health related emergencies. And so that is anything that it could be non-criminal, non-medical. And we have a trained team that can respond. These are some of the folks that we're responding to in the field. It was also mentioned about trust. And I feel like ACS has done a really good job in building trust in the community. And we only refer to spaces that we feel comfortable and confident knowing that they're going to get connected to the right resource at the right time. Our motto at ACS is the right response at the right time, and we are the connector of all these services. And to see multiple services popping up with very specialized, focused age groups, demographics, programming is so important for our responders to be able to connect folks to the right space. And this facility really embodies a specialized facility that we can keep that trust going within the community. So important for ACS as we respond to over 3,000, almost 4,000 calls a month diverted from 311 as well as the 911 system. And so as we keep expanding services for every individualized, unique story that we have, it's so important, and we're so thankful. We're so grateful for all of the work that everybody does, all of our community partners. I see Goodwill here. We are so thankful for you and our partnership. They come to all of our Connect to Care events trying to hook people in. And YDI, my goodness, I feel like we partner every single day. And so thank you guys so much. This is really what the broad community safety looks like. This is the entire ecosystem working together so that we can solve a problem, so that we can wrap our arms around the community in a way that we haven't before. From the dispatch to ACS to behavioral health response, for us making contact, for then us referring to these programs, this system. This is something that is not happening anywhere else in the country but here in the city. And I'm so thankful for the leaders that are taking the chance, building the facilities, believing in ACS, believing in all our community partners. I can't say enough, and it makes our job easier as far as ACS goes. I know that, we hold ourselves to a really high standard, but we're only successful because of these connections that we're able to make. So thank you so much for everybody. We have multiple teams that touch this demographic as far as our behavioral health responders, as well as our violence intervention teams. And those teams are also trying to break the cycles of addiction, homelessness before that it's too late. And so we have multiple teams that are referring into this facility. And so really just thank you. Thank you for making our job easier. Thank you for helping the community in a way that we haven't before. And I don't want to take up any more time because I feel the most important story is next. Somebody that is sharing their story, that is an actual resident here, and really always amazing to see the fruits of everybody's labor. And congratulations. And Moxie, I'd love to invite you up to share your story next. So thank you all.
Oh, goodness. I'd like to say the pressure today has been unsurmounting, and it is such an honor to get to speak in front of you all. I'm an 18-year-old here living at Gateway Young Adult. I came here just only 2 months ago, and gosh, it has been such a journey. Already in my time here, I've graduated from high school, and I've been given a place where I can finally explore who I am and really put my feet down, and it's just all so much. Thank you so much for coming. Well, let's start a little bit about me. I came here about a year ago now, and as of now, I still don't feel like I'm meant for this city, but wow. Oh my goodness, sorry. Yeah, I came here a year ago, and I could have never expected for my story of this entire year to play out. I left my parents' home at 18, and never before did I think that would happen. I always drummed up my life to be something where I stick with my family. Family's everything. I'll have a place where I can come home to sleep at night. And I don't think any child, especially like young adults like me, ever expect to go through a situation where they're going to have to find a place to sleep at night. They don't have a guaranteed meal to wake up to or friends to look forward to crying on their shoulders. I definitely didn't have any of that before I came here. So the first day I was kicked out, I remember it was the most miserable day of my life. I was in high school at the time. I was only 2 months away from graduating, and oh my gosh, I came to school and I was broken. I had like only 2 suitcases full of my clothing and nothing else, and that's where I began. And I remember sitting with my counselor and just crying for hours because who can expect something like this to happen? I'm sure everyone who moves somewhere with their parents is like, oh, I love them so much. I'll never be able to leave them. They'll never be able to leave me. But like once you're truly alone, I think there's like something that comes out of you, just this feeling of dread, but also I feel like a phoenix was ignited in the ashes that came from me being burned down. I managed to get in contact with the Transgender Resource Center through my counselor. I met a wonderful man named Theo. He helped me get in contact with the wonderful people here at Gateway Young Adult, and gosh, I cannot express how relieving that was because they set me up in a hotel for 2 months, and during that time I had a lot of time to reflect, and I was just in a storm, in a frenzy, because I don't know, I was 18. I was never expecting something like this to happen, and to be an adult and to be alone and to be financially independent of yourself at such a young age, I was never like taught any of this stuff, and I just moved here, so it was all so new to me, and I genuinely had no hope for myself. I didn't think I could do any of this. I did not have hopes for graduating high school. I was like, maybe I should drop out to focus on my life. I was just trying to find any way to make money. I was at the lowest of the low in terms of my entire life. But yeah, Gateway Young Adult reached out to me, and they did the intake, and in only like a month or 2 I was in, and oh my goodness, that was the most relieving feeling I've ever felt in my entire life. Going here, it was daunting, but it was all so easy. I was in I think less than a day, like half a day. I had an interview, and coming into my room and just like breathing that sigh of relief that, oh my gosh, I don't have to worry anymore. That was so incredibly relieving. And I want as many young adults as possible to feel that same feeling, because I cannot imagine living on the streets here as an 18-year-old. I don't know what I'd do. I'd be lost. I'd be completely doomed, because I think once you fall onto the streets, I feel like that's such a gateway to everything else that could happen in your life that's not such a good thing. Yeah, I cannot believe I'm here right now. The fact that I'm standing here right now is just incredible, and the fact that I have all of you beautiful people staring back up at me, listening to me, it's so incredible. Goodness me. Yeah, I finally have a place. In my time in Gateway, I've managed to not only graduate high school, I've also managed to completely get on HRT, which has been the most incredible thing for me. I have basically taken control of my own life, and I'm financially independent from my parents now, and oh my gosh, it's such a relief to be on my feet again. Right now I'm in the process of moving into my own apartment, and the lovely people here are paying for my first deposit, and they're going to get me in, and they're going to make sure I'm safe, and I am so excited. Thank you. But yes, this has been such a journey, such a long, bumpy road, and there's been so many potholes, but in every one of those potholes, every time my car blew a flat, Gateway has been there to put a new tire on my car and keep me rolling. Thank you.
Thank you. That was amazing. We have one more amazing speaker that's going to come up and wrap us up. It's Jack Samayu. And then we will set aside some time for interviews. And then we will take a lovely photo outside by our beautiful sign. And then anyone who would like to join us for a tour, Lauren is going to take you around and show you this lovely space. So, Jack, come on up. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Do I really need to speak anymore? Right? This testimonial today, right, we hear how this place in its imagination from the very beginning and how it became this place now, the Gateway's Young Adult Shelter, right? And this is what the city of Albuquerque, the mayor, city council, and everyone else that was in the beginning of this process. I can tell you, for the city of Albuquerque, YDI has been around for 55 years. We opened our first shelter in 1976. It is still one of the longest shelter that has been around to serve young people ages 12 to 17, and that's the Amistad shelter that's down in South Valley. So we continue to operate, but we've known all along, right? Through the years, we've collected all this data, seeing this population, the 18 to 25-year-old population, and we've known, right? Because the insurance companies tells us that too, right? They love to open up prisons, and because they look at the data too. So I'm so happy when the city of Albuquerque and the mayor Keller decided to go this route and put some money and thought into this process of opening the gateway hubs, right? It's a one-stop shop, and that's how I look at it, right? And it's for every homeless family, young person, go there. You can start there, or you can land anywhere else, and then we can help you find a place where you can be safe, secure, and be successful. And we are hearing the story today of this young person here. Thank you for sharing your story with us today, because that's very powerful, right? So I wrote this long speech, but Mr. Ramirez told me that he's hungry, and I can't talk this long anymore. So I'm going to keep it short. I want to thank everyone who has been a partner from the very beginning, right, with YDI. YDI, it was really funny. I'll tell you a really quick story about the RFP process, because there were so many of the nonprofit agencies that were involved in really looking at this, at the Gateway Young Adult, right? There was a lot of thought, a lot of meetings. It took about, I want to say 3 years, right? About 3 years for all of us to look at it, did the community assessments, look at data, and then that's how Gateway Young Adult became what it is today. And so when the city of Albuquerque issued the RFP, the providers amongst themselves talked and had a discussion, and we settled on a provider that we were hoping to be the provider for this center, this program, and then in the end, they decided not to do it, and so YDI stepped in, and we applied, and of course, we were awarded this contract, and want to thank the city of Albuquerque, because this has been an amazing partnership, and on this board here, right? This is the village right here, but I want to remind all of us that we are all in this together, right? Whether your names are up here or not, we want to add more village members up here so that we can grow and make sure that every single person here in Albuquerque, in the city of Albuquerque, is being served and provided with the services that they need, whether that be housing, job skills, financial literacy, any of those things. This program here does all those things right now. I have staff back there that will be giving you all a tour later on and can share more about what we do here at the center. And what we're hoping that with phase 2 and phase 3 coming on board, we will continue to serve more young people in the city of Albuquerque. And I'll tell you, I was at a meeting about a week ago, I think it was a week ago, with the national people from HUD and everywhere else. And this model, they have been talking about replicating the Gateway Hub model throughout the country, because they're seeing what it can be done, what is the outcomes that we're seeing. We also operate another Gateway program for the city of Albuquerque. That's the Gateway Family program. Of course, Ramirez over here gave me that contract and said to run that. So we are happy and very proud to be part of this collaboration with the city of Albuquerque and all of our partners up here. Let's continue to do this work because it's very important. It's vitally important for all of us to be part of this process, and thanking Mayor Keller for his foresight and the city of Albuquerque for creating the Gateway Hubs. And so if you're ever in need of any assistance, either reaching out to the city of Albuquerque or YDI or all the other nonprofits that are here today, whatever door that is available to you, please use it, right? And that's what I always tell people. Whatever that is in front of you, use it, because you will get to the place that you need to get to. And by having such a programs like the young adult shelter here, will allow these young people to grow, be safe, and be very successful in their lives. So thank you all for coming, and thank you to Mayor Kell and the city of Albuquerque.
All right, that concludes our speaking portion of the program. If you would like to join Lauren for a tour, she'll help you right up at the front. Otherwise, I will support our leaders if there's any media questions you guys want to work through. Yeah.
Okay, now it's the team photo.
Yeah, team photo, school photo, let's go.